Good morning, real life traders. Good morning, everyone on YouTube. Give me a one in the chat if you can hear me okay. Excellent. Cool. Good deal. How is everybody doing? This is my first time on the mic since in the new year. So happy new year, everybody. Happy Friday. Let's just give a minute and let people have some time to log in, and we'll start. We'll jump into the markets, take a look at what's going on. Albert, happy 2023. It's crazy. I mean, yeah, so funny. I mean, we're going to take a look at it, the overall markets, but, hey, good morning, Rock. 30 minutes ago, it was looking like it was going to be a minor gap down in the markets. All right, so let's see. Let me see how many. All right. I think we could probably jump in here and get started. Just give me everyone. Hey, Matt R, what's going on? Just give me. Everyone should see my charts that have the broader markets on there, the ES and NASDAQ and all that. Just give me a one real quick. Make sure that you can see the charts I'm looking at. Cool, Jay. Thank you. All right, cool. And also, real quick, I see some new names. So. Give me a 2. Give me a 2 in the chat if you are new to real life trading. Win. Yeah, I didn't think I recognized the name Win. Who else? There's got to be some new people out there. Ronald, good morning. All right, so I see Win, but there's other names that I didn't recognize. So anyway, if you're new to real life trading, welcome. Happy New Year. Looking forward to trading with you. So Win, since you're the only one who responded in the chat, I feel new. Does that count? So Win, are you new to trading or just new to real life trading? RLT. Cool. Awesome. Okay, good deal. All right, let's take a look at the broader market. So over here, I've got the S&P here and the NASDAQ here. And like I said, 8:30 this morning. So just before the payroll stats came out, it was looking like we were going to have a minor gap down. And then we got we did get a report out that made the market pop a little bit. And you can see here, right? So right here, right at 8:30, it was the non-farm payroll results came out. Clearly, the market liked it, gave it a little boost. So we are looking at a potential bullish day today. Hector, Happy New Year. Any hope for the Bears? I don't know. I mean, so what's interesting is, today, right now, okay, yes, we are looking at, the market bounced at 8:30 in the morning. But if you look at the S&P here and the NASDAQ, I mean, we are looking at an inside day from yesterday right now, right? So we're not clearing any the highs or the lows from yesterday. So we are simply, inside yesterday's price action. So what does that mean? I mean, you all have been trading with ROT long enough and with me. So throw me some answers in the chat real quick. Inside day, what do I typically say inside day equals? Exactly. Chop. Yep. And again, wait until the direction picks a market, a direction. Yep. Exactly. Chop City. So, and it's a Friday, and Fridays historically are my worst trading day. So I'm always a little more conservative on a Friday, and I just wait to see if the market will, pick a direction and start trending in that direction strongly. So right now we are inside, but let's take a look at, let's expand this. And it's interesting. I do this every time. Every time I'm on, I like to, every day that I trade, I like to take a look, but especially when I am on the mic here, I want to go back to, let's take a look at this, right? Look at this. I mean, this trend line that we've talked about before, right? Look at this trend line and how well that trend line has held. Yeah, we're going to get to Matt. Yeah, we'll get to Tesla in a little bit. But here's on the ES. Look at this trend line. I mean, this trend line is, I mean, when you talk about trend lines, that is the quintessential trend line in terms of providing overhead resistance, right? So we've tested that trend line several times, multiple times in the last year. Can't get above it. We got above it slightly here. Let me zoom in on this area here. Okay. And just FYI, so this is a beginner focused Friday. Okay. So we're going to be going, I'm going to be talking more in terms of basics in terms of trading and focusing on newer and developing traders. Dan and Johnny will be jumping in after me. Johnny first, and then I think Dan. But anyway, what's interesting here, okay, is we came up here, we tested this, and then we come up here and we throw in, at one point, this would have been a nice big bullish candle, right? Breaking through that trend line. And then look what happened. It just got completely rejected, sold off, and then we're back down below the trend line. So double top here, shooting star, and then pull back. And so we're at a pretty important level right now. We got to, if you look left here, I always talk about like looking left, right? So if you were just to drop in a price level here, looking left, you can see here that this was, right? So right here, this was overhead resistance, right? Came down, we broke through it, right? Now, chopped back through it, came back down. We've been right through this area here. We were fighting this level, and now look how we're holding it, right? So it's an important level to hold. But the one thing I will mention in terms of, and this is going to be a question for the group. So here, on this double top here, and of course here we broke, quite a bit higher than here, but still, if you look at these two highs here, what is the one thing that you notice if you're just looking at my screen? What is the one thing that everyone, and I know Woodshed will get this in a heartbeat. I don't know if Woodshed's here yet. Yeah, double top, but what else? I mean, again, don't focus. I'm going to give you a little hint. What is the I'm saying the screen, not just the candlesticks. Matt says he's busy trading futures. Yep. So anybody got a venture a guess here in terms of, and the hints that I'm giving you are Woodshed, right? So Woodshed always talks about it. Matt, you should get this because trend, yeah, but there's more to it. And again, think of the screen, not just the candlesticks. That's the biggest hint I can give you. Oh, Matt, I'm saying, what is the thing that you mentioned that you can see on this screen between this high and this high that we look for, especially which, and the hint is Woodshed, what he sees, what he looks for. Exactly. Alex, boom. Alex gets the gold star for today. Divergence. Exactly. Terrence. Yeah. So look down here, right? So this is when you are looking, when you're using the indicators like an RSI or MACD, the one thing that you always want to look for is divergence. Like that is the key thing that I'm looking for when I'm trading. Yep. A lot. Yeah. I'll explain it. So right here. Okay. So if you look right here at this, when we came up here to this and we made this high, right? You agree that this is a previous high. And if we drop in we come down here and we look at the MACD here, right? I'll just draw a line. I'll drop in a line here, right? And you can see that when we came up here and we made this high, you can see where the MACD line is, right? So then when you come over here and you look at this high, where's the MACD? Is it higher or lower? Exactly, right? So what you're looking at here is a divergence. So you have this high, and then if you draw this trend line here on the MACD, you can clearly see that this trend line is going down. So price action making a higher high, but the MACD is showing you a bearish divergence. Does that make sense, Alon? So what we're doing is we're comparing the price up here, right? And then we're looking at seeing what the MACD is doing in relationship to price. Okay, so divergence doesn't mean higher price, lower MACD. Well, I guess in that case, yes. I guess the way you're saying it, yes. It just means that we're comparing the MACD, but in relationship to these two highs, and the MACD was lower here, and you can even see that. You even look at the histogram here, right? And it's very, it didn't even get above when it was making this high here. See how all through this move up here, the histogram was above the zero line, right? And then here we make a new high. Not only do we have the histogram below the zero line, but we also have this divergence, right? Does that make sense? So the idea there is that when you're looking at that, it's just an awareness thing. You just want to be looking at the price action and the divergence, go, okay, well, is this really a strong move, or are we looking at some type of a divergence on the MACD? And that just, all that does is that should require you just to pause, right? And just look at that. It's it's momentum, right? So momentum and trend. And all that's doing is just giving you, and I'm breaking it down into most simplest terms on how to use it, is just look for divergence, right? But the idea here is that, when these lines cross over, right? That's right. So right here, when these lines cross, it's supposed to be either a bullish indicator or a bearish indicator, right? So, but I just look at this and I just seek out and I look for a divergence to, when price is making a higher high, but the MACD has a bearish divergence, or if price is making a lower low, but MACD has a bullish divergence. So, all right, let's move on. I'm gonna just blow up the NASDAQ real quick as well, because it's the same look, same feel. You see if I can, you have to forgive me. I'm trading off my, hey, Kyle, good morning. Kyle, I'm up here in Canada right now. So I'm broadcasting here from my cottage up in Canada. So I'm trading off my my laptop, and I've got, a bunch of monitors here. So it's not my normal setup. No, and so here's the crazy thing. The reason I'm up here at my place in Canada right now is because there is no snow. Because otherwise, yeah, Matt, yeah, I'm back up here working on the bathroom project. Good memory. Yeah, the only reason I'm here is because there is no snow. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to get to my property, just because it's not paved and it's not plowed. It's just a dirt and gravel driveway that's about a quarter of a mile long, and I have to go up and over this pretty steep ridge to get to it. So yeah, if there was snow, I wouldn't be able to get to the cottage. Yeah, so Jose, we're going to jump into Tesla in just a second. Let me just, again, NASDAQ, same look here, right? I don't need to go back over all this, but it's the same exact look in terms of the trend line and how it's providing overhead resistance, getting rejected. But again, I'll just dive into this area real quick again here, and you can see it pretty clearly, right? So here, if you look at this high here, right? New higher high, you look at the MACD, you look at here, higher high, and then look where the MACD is. Clear bearish divergence here on the MACD, right? So hopefully that makes sense. So yeah, we are at support. If you look here, what I mentioned is we are at a support level right now. So this level should hold, right? I mean, we need it to hold right now if we want to try to potentially break that trend line and go bullish again. But yeah, we are at support. You can see here, right? If you're looking back left, you can see here that we're clearly at a level of support here, and also the same with the ES. So, and then real quick into this is the 5-minute chart. right? So 5-minute chart on the ES, 5-minute chart on the NASDAQ. Again, today we started, it was looking like a potential gap down, and then minor gap down, not a big gap down, minor gap down with, but then the non-farm payroll came in, and then we got a pump in the market. So here is the SPY on the daily chart here. Of course, we're not printing yet because the market isn't open, but as soon as it is, we'll be looking at the SPY and the Qs. So let's jump into, let me go to a different screen share, and we will jump into the individual tickers that we follow, but specifically Tesla, because that's interesting. What is going on with Tesla right now? Give me a second. Let me just clean up a couple of things here before I switch screens. Okay, you should see now 6 charts that I have up: Tesla, Nvidia, Amazon, AMD, Delta, and then there's shop there on the bottom. Just make looks good. Okay, cool. So let's take a look. What's interesting, before I get into the individual ticker, let me move again. I gotta move some stuff around here. Move the chat out of the way. I need to minimize this. Okay, so we'll dive into the individual tickers here. But what's interesting, before I'm going to go to a different chart in a second, different screen. But if you look just at all these, look how AMD, right? AMD got the pop here. Nvidia responded to that news. Amazon responded to the news. Shopify. Now, again, Shopify is not on our 10 EMA list, but I just have it up here from a previous day. So all of these are responding positively to the news, and look at Tesla, right? So Tesla is not responding positively to the news. So right now, Tesla is looking like it's doing something different than the markets. So that is something that you want to win. If you go onto your dashboard, right? Go to your dashboard on the real life trading site, and if you look there under resources, and there should be a whole thing there that you can download on the 10 EMA strategy. And if you have trouble finding it, let me know. Just throw it up in the chat, and I'll show you where that is. But there, you can actually download a document that gives you all the rules and everything around the 10 EMA strategy, as well as the list. But real quick, I'll give you the list of tickers: Tesla, Nvidia, Amazon, AMD, Delta, Airbnb, Roblox. Now, I don't have Airbnb and Roblox up on this chart that we're looking at here, because there's also, when, I don't know if you're familiar, but there's a RLT has a funded account program where you can actually get funded and trade other people's money. So the only downside to the funded account is that it doesn't have every single ticker that we would look to trade if you were trading off of a broker like Interactive Brokers, or whoever your broker might be. So so on the funded account, it doesn't have Roblox and Airbnb, but it has all the others that we trade for the 10 EMA strategy. So anyway, but here is Tesla doing something different than the rest of the market, which is interesting, and something that, when you're trading, you want to be aware that when a ticker is doing something different than the rest of the market, that's something you want to pay attention to. So let's take a look at, let me switch screens. We will dive into each of these individual tickers. All right, so here's Tesla. All right, so I have Tesla on the 3-minute right here. Right, I've already at 8:30 when I was I guess around 8 o'clock when I was actually doing my pre-market analysis and everything, I just threw in this note here that it was gapping down. So this line, okay, and so if you're not familiar with the 10 EMA strategy, I will talk about a couple of the things that we look for. And so on the daily chart here, right? So here on the daily chart, we want to identify what the high and the low of the previous day is. That is done with these green lines. So I have on the daily chart, zoom in a little bit more here. Daily chart here, I have the high and the low marked off on Tesla. Those translate over here to the smaller time frame chart. Move this over. Now, so I threw in this note here, gap down on this green line, because right now I can't see the second green line. So if I didn't have that little note there, I might not recognize, or I might not remember, depending on how many tickers I'm looking at, if that is the low from yesterday, the high. But that is the low from yesterday represented here. And then the orange lines represent the pre-market high, pre-market low. I need to modify this. But if you look at Tesla here, okay, we are just stair-stepping down, right? This must have been 8:30. So 8:30, Tesla tried to respond like the rest of the market and just got, rejected, pushed back down. Back up to this level, like we got a nice little push. Be interesting to see how, and back to trend lines, right? So this is a 3-minute chart, but you can draw a trend line right here, right? Here's using the pre-market data. If I can get here's a 3-minute trend line. And look how it's holding, right? So I'll leave that on there for the time being, just to see how it responds to this trend line. But we hit this low. So we have right now, I think, what indicator is that stair step down? This one right here. That's this red line here. So for the 10 EMA, so my moving averages, okay, I use the dark red color is my 10 EMA. Okay, so you have a 10 EMA here, you have a 20, which is the black line here, 20 EMA. So 10 EMA, 20 EMA. This jagged one, I have an indicator win on my Thinkorswim that plots a higher time frame. So if you look at this, I know that this line right here is this is the 10 EMA, but this is on a higher time frame. Okay, so that would be the 5-minute 10 EMA. So and if you go in here to the well, I don't want to scroll all the way out on the daily chart, but anytime that you see a jagged line on my screens, it represents a higher time frame moving average. Okay, so if it's a 3-minute chart, I know that the next higher time frame that I trade off of is 5. So that would be a 5-minute. If I'm on the 5-minute chart and you see a jagged line on the 5-minute chart, that means it's the 15-minute. Okay. If I'm on the daily and I see a jagged line, that means it's a weekly moving average. So it just goes up to the next level of is that a 5 offset? Sorry, I'm not sure I understand on that EMA offset. See if you can clarify the offset part of that question. But the reason it's jagged is that it shows me visually that is a different time frame. That's otherwise it would be hard to distinguish between the 5-minute and the 3-minute. All right, so back to Tesla, right? We are looking at a gap down. So oh no, it's not on the candles because it's the 5-minute, right? So these are the 3-minute candles. So the 3-minute candles are going to be, closer to the 10 EMA on the 3-minute, right? But because that's a 5-minute, if I were to change this to a 5-minute, do that real quick, right? So now that I'm into a 5-minute, this smooth line here, now that's the 5-minute 10 EMA, and this jagged line here is the 15-minute 10 EMA. So it just shows me the next level up, that the jagged line. Okay. So back to the gap. Let's analyze the gap today. So I know all of you regular ROT people know this, but yesterday we had a bearish candle and we have a gap down. Okay. So bearish candle gapping down. What kind of gap do we have? Just go ahead and throw it in the chart. I know 99.9 of you have this. Yeah, bearish gap. No, it's not a gap and go. So yeah, it's a retest gap. So the difference there, okay, is so I'm glad I asked that question, right? So just to clarify for your win, is that the when you have a red candle gapping down or a green candle gapping up, it's a retest gap. Okay. If this was a let's say on this day where we had a green candle, if the next day, if that gap down here, that is a gap and go. So the a retest gap is gapping in the same direction as the prior day, and a gap and go is gapping in the opposite direction of it. Oh no, it's fine. It's all good. Yeah. So yeah, and then when you're analyzing the gap, it's all about, okay, who's trapped, right? So we do have we are looking at right now a gap down on Tesla. Now Tesla did, and again, this is only a 3-minute chart here with this trend line. So again, a 3-minute chart trend line is not going to be as strong of a, like let's say a 15-minute trend line, right? So the higher the time frame, the more reliable it's going to be. So we have a 3-minute trend line that got broken here, but we still are trading below yesterday's low, right? So we still are looking at gap down. So with a retest gap, we will be expecting price to retest yesterday's levels. Now, again, it doesn't mean it's going to come all the way back up into here. It might retest the low from yesterday. It might retest the pre-market high right here, right? That might be the retest. So we don't really know where it's going to retest to. We just have to anticipate and expect that because it is a retest gap, that price will retest. And often when you look at a retest gap, there's going to be, two retests. There can be a small retest followed by a larger retest, or vice versa. But typically you're looking at throughout the day. When you are trading, if you're in a trade, you want to be patient with moving your stops on a retest gap because you want to anticipate that price will retest, right? Versus a gap and go where you do expect price to be moving strongly and trending strongly in a certain direction. Doesn't mean it always happens. All right, so there's Tesla gapping down. Let's see here. And again, because it's doing something different than the market, that's something that you want to pay attention to, right? Because it's not because it's doing something different, it doesn't, it's likely going to trade on its own, right? It's likely going to trade on its own. Okay, so Kyle's saying Jeremy also has a nice analysis of Tesla gap in Slack. So if you have Slack open, go over and check out Jeremy's analysis as well on that. I did not see that, but thank you, Kyle, for throwing that out in the chat. All right, so there's Tesla. Let's the market is going to open in 9 minutes. I'm going to jump back to a different 9 minutes, 1 minute. I'm going to jump back to a different chart here since we didn't get through everything. Which is fine. Again, this is we slow things down on a beginner Friday. So, because we do want to answer all the questions. So thank you for asking all those questions, because worst thing is if you're, sitting here and trading and you don't understand what we're talking about, or some of the lingo or what have you. So thanks for asking those questions. So, okay, here on Tesla, right? So we broke that. Let me zoom in here a little bit. Broke that trend line, we're retesting them, right? So now we want to, and again, this is just a 3-minute trend line. So it's not like it's a 15-minute, but still we want to see if it can hold this level when the market opens. Amazon, interestingly here, sold off, got a strong sell-off right before there's the bell. All right. Thank you. I didn't mean to, no, win. And you didn't monopolize the time. That is why we're here and why we do what we do on a beginner Friday. So it's all about asking questions and getting those questions answered and making sure that you're up to speed and you're not feeling like you're not following along. So no, I'm glad glad I could take some time and answer those questions for you. So I need to sign off of YouTube. Give me 1 second here. So everyone out there on YouTube, if you're not a member of Real Life Trading, we do have end of the month. I believe it's the 23rd. I don't have it in front of me right now. We are doing an open house. You can sign up for that. You can join us for a free week and trade with us just like we trade every single day. Just go over to reallifetrading.com. Check out the website, look for the information on the free week coming up towards the end of January here. And happy trading and have